So here we go, 3-2 for Real Madrid, a game that it looked like they were just going to see out perfectly, 3-0, but Alavez almost were able to take a point away from the Bernabeu. But as it stands, because of the win for Real Madrid, it's just a point between themselves and Barcelona, but Barcelona have yet to play Getafe in this midweek round of action. Luis Garcia, our own Luis Garcia, joining us as well.
Not the angry one.
Not the angry one. A happier one, we hope.
Sure?
We hope. I tell you what, Luis, that was a tense ending.
Yeah, it was crazy that second half, but it's what happened when you stop working, when you unplug what you are doing, because we've been saying that this Real Madrid is not playing. We were waiting for them to link between them, to understand each other better, but the most important is that they match the intensity of the rest of the teams, and today they did it in the first 45. We saw a very good Real Madrid scoring goals, creating chances, not allowing this Alavez to believe for anything, and that stopped after the third goal in the 50 minutes. Everybody started saying like, well, this is already done. We are gonna just score a few more goals and see what happened. But players stop running, players stop chasing the ball and tracking back. And in the end, Alavez is a good team. We mentioned they started very well. It's a team well drilled today. Luis Garcia Plaza made a lot of changes. So in the end, you could see that in the second half, Alavez increased in the creating chances up front. So you scored the first one. Why not believe? And listen, we saw a post and we saw another chance in a header. It could have been a very, very bad game for Real Madrid. In the end, 3 points, and to the next one, to the derby.
Yet again, though, it's a Real Madrid win with questions that come at the end of it and a bit of an exclamation point.
Well, I think the questions are more about switching off, which is an easier fix than the issues that they'd had up until this season, which they hadn't really had much continuity in their play. Today, we saw a swagger about this Real Madrid side, the way for long periods that they kept the ball and Alavez couldn't get any challenges in, the way that they scored the goals, the way that they linked up, their superstars, and then how they controlled the game. However, it went from swagger to panic, you know, and it's hard to criticise a manager at 3-0, you know, giving players a rest. There's some big games coming up, but once you start making changes and you take away the fluency of the side, and you know, 1 or 2 players are not as experienced, not as good, and all of a sudden, Alavez, by the way, scored 2 great goals. It was 2, particularly the second one. I mean, the first one was a great finish. The second one, the pass and the finish from that angle was fantastic. But for me, what we saw today was more of what we were expecting from the first couple of games of the season from Real Madrid, which was a bit of a chest puffed out performance, swagger, keeping the ball, sort of just controlling the game. And yes, that was panic stations at the end, but I think that was more to do with the fact he made so many changes.
For Real Madrid, the good news is you win the game, 3 points. You at least keep up that chase with this early season chase with Barcelona. No big issue. You saw Vinicius looking just about back at his best, especially in those one-on-one situations. Kylian Mbappe is starting to look a lot more like his old self, and that partnership with Jude Bellingham that we spoke about. And then Rodrigo pops up at the start of the second half and shows that you kind of take your eye off him and focus on Vinicius and Mbappe at your peril, because he will hurt you just as much. And the game was very easy. And I think kind of given the changes, and yes, it was a nervy finish, but you survive it. Carlo Ancelotti says to those young players, this is how quickly games change at this level. That all of a sudden we're in total control of the football game. 1 goal, 1 moment that we fall asleep, and all of a sudden we find ourselves scrambling. And the opposition, they get their tails up, and we find ourselves hanging on. So you take that as kind of a learning moment for the younger players. But for Real Madrid, you pack your things up, you say, job done in that you got your 3 points, you find those lessons and you move on.
We saw the best of Vinny again, Luis, but we also see how easily frustrated he gets. Obviously, there was the yellow card, and then at the end when he saw the minutes, how's Carlo Ancelotti going to deal with that situation? Because there's games like El Derby, you know it's going to be fiery.
Yes, and Kay, we've been talking about this matter for such a long time, and it looks like he's never going to change. I mean, his personality, we'll hope that maybe in 10 years, when he had enough experience on the game, enough experience or gets older, he will realize that he just lose his focus. He lose a lot of energy just complaining, just to trying to get out of focus of some more other players, or try to put them in a position where he can feel a little bit more comfortable. But I think that at some point Real Madrid or Ancelotti should talk to him or try to address, because in the end it's not good for the team, not good for the players, not good for anyone, because the image of the football, he is a massive platform. Every new kid of the new generation is looking at Vinicius Junior, so he needs to understand that every single behavior that he's got into the pitch or out of the pitch is going to influence a lot of kids, and that's something that he should know, and he should know very quick.
We saw. Oh, sorry, go on.
So I was just going to say, here's the big issue with this for me, and as Luis points out, we've kind of been talking about this for quite some time, and I thought he started to mature out to that, and then you see this. This is at the Bernabeu. This is when your fans are behind you. You have not been kind of antagonized, certainly by the crowd all game long, which he is every single away game. So just when you think he started to get some of those emotions in control, and especially when he goes away and those atmospheres, you see this at home in a comfortable surrounding. That for me, again, is just something. Maybe to my previous phrase, it's a teachable moment again. But we've had those with Vinicius Junior. We've seen the best of him, unfortunately. That's just kind of the worst side of his talents.
We saw it at the Montjuic last season in the Clásico. He was just non-influential in the game because, I think it was last year anyway, it was last year. He was having a tough time. He felt the decisions were not going his way. He just got involved in every off-the-ball incident. And I understand the frustrations of any player, because I used to get frustrated myself, but I didn't have the talent to influence a game like Vinicius Junior. And the more that he gets annoyed and frustrated by the peripheral things that he can't control, i.e. a referee's decision when he feels he's fouled, a fourth official's board going up with 6 minutes, he can't influence that. Then in the bigger games, that's going to be to the detriment of his performance, because his mind's kind of sliding elsewhere. When Vinicius Junior is just fully concentrated and he's not frustrated and he doesn't feel everything's against him, we've seen it. He is almost impossible to stop. But we still see these little moments that come along. He'll have to work on it. But I'm sure the Atleti players at this weekend will be working on it, because you can see it.
And I hope that you guys will be with us this weekend for El Derby.
I should get paid for these segues.
Brilliant segue.
Extra, I mean.
Special segue for a special day. More on that later. El Derby coming up this weekend, Sunday, and it is at the Metropolitano too. Make sure to be with us for all the build-up to the big game in La Liga.